Welcome to Simply HR channel. In today's session, we are going to discuss the process of employee selection. Though this flowchart shows around 8 to 9 stages of selection process, it's not that each and every stage is mandatory. No, there are possibilities for an HR to decide to skip one or two steps in between, or many steps can be eliminated, or even some new steps also can be involved in this process which are not in the diagram. So there is no hard and fast rule for a process of selection, but this is generally adopted scheme of selection. This can be the basis as a background to start with. So now let me give you a light on each step with the short notes. First step is going to be preliminary screening. The screening can be either manually done or by IT infrastructure. We can have resume screening in softwares or hardwares through which the entire process is taken care. So on the other side, before giving a light on each steps of the process, let me give you one tip on what is on the right hand side of the flowchart. There is a box for rejected applicant. This stage is always a parallel stage to any step, because at any point of time or any stage a candidate can get rejected. So every stage has a possibility for rejection of applicants. That is how the process of selection is called the elimination process. Elimination means every stage has 100% chances for elimination. That's the idea. So in the flowchart you can understand every step has an upward movement as well as the parallel movement to reject applicant. That is how the process actually happens. So reject applicant is an important stage where selection process is by the process itself is justified. Okay. Now after resume scanning, in the resume scanning there are a number of possibilities for huge rejection. At least 20% of applications can get rejected out of a total coverage of the received applications. What would cost this 20%? That's the question now. First and foremost, there are applications which carelessly are left without identity, such as name, address, contact details. These kind of missings in the applications cannot be entertained. So straight away we reject those applications. And on the other hand, there are possibilities for an application to get rejected as the technical side. That is, maybe in the classified or the recruitment communication, we would have given some requirement of educational qualification, experience in terms of job description and job specification. We would have given certain details. If those details are not matching or the candidate's profile do not even pass through any of our requirements, then there is no point in wasting time in that application. So we straight away reject. That is how more or less minimum 20% of applications which we receive might get rejected at this stage. Then the 80% of remaining will go to next stage where it is application blank stage. This is the idea of getting the required data in full sufficiency to get them embedded with our infrastructure of information technology. For example, every organization will is having its own infrastructure in terms of information technology. So in that case, the HRIS or HRMIS will have a blank form in which the company logo is printed and pre-printed questions or pre-printed items will be printed. At the same time, the candidate will be asked to fill in the blanks or the boxes given there. So those kind of pre-printed application forms are called application blanks. So initially the screening, after the preliminary screening, we will take the 80% of remaining candidates will to application blank stage. In this stage we are giving them the pre-printed application form with the logo of the company, which is the property of the company. That is why I am insisting on the application blank carrying logo of the company. This at any cost we should not allow them to take outside, even if they are rejected or at any point of time. Sometimes when you screw them up with a lot of difficult exercises and tests and exam, they may not even submit the application and straight away they take it home. That kind of practices can't be entertained if we are having the practice of application blank. Next stage, in the application blank, we will be getting all those data required for our infrastructure, which is information technology, because the information technology infrastructure embeds all the systems of the organization, right from duty manager, shift manager, department head, HR head, compensation head, training head, appraisal head, HOD's desk, securities desk, even CEO's desk will be embedded to the infrastructure of information technology. So each and every file that gets logged into the system will get notified to all these people concerned. So that kind of an arrangement necessitates this application blank. So when we give an application blank to the employee also, there are possibilities for rejections. Sometimes they may not have sufficient data to fill in, and very essential data they may not be able to provide. In that case, we may reject that applicant. This may happen to around 10 to 15% of the applicants. Now, to the minimum 10% are rejected means at this stage itself 30% of the total applicants are rejected, isn't it? The rest of the 70% will be taken to interview session. This interview generally will be the HOD's interview or the technical interview. By interview, we are expecting them to speak and check their vocabulary, their communication and soft skills, which are required, mandatory for the particular profile, or subsidiary or allied skills for the particular profile. That case, the interview also will have some rejections if the communication is very poor, or the emotional health is very poor, or the candidate is not in a position to understand the purpose of the question and he blabbers something, then we can straight away get negative marking. So too much of negative marking will automatically lead to reject applicant stage, isn't it? So here also 10 to 15% we may reject to the minimum. If we are rejecting 10%, then there is a possibility for 40% rejection at this stage. So after the interview, we are taking the rest of the candidates to employment testing stage. The employment testing stage is the technical stage where you are testing the on-the-job skills and the technical know-how, not the basic idea, but the technical idea to the particular profile. How much he is able to understand the basic things, technicalities, the intricacies, the difficulties, the challenges and problem solving aspects of the particular profile. All those things will be the testable areas at this stage. So here there are possibilities for us to get 50 to 75% rejections. So to the tune of 50 to 75% rejection we allow here, and the rest of the people will be taken to the next stage, that is reference check. Many a time if you had gone through an application blank, there will be always a item asking for reference details. Generally these reference details are taken from the employer's details, the academic teachers and academia related people's data and funds. These details can be given in reference check. Many a times reference check may not happen, but if the position is critical, if the position is very accountable position, it's a very confidential position, it is a trustworthy position in which the employee is going to be appointed, then that case high risk positions, criticality high positions are requiring reference checks. So in those profiles we will have to go for necessarily for reference checks. In the reference check also the HR can come across some suspicious aspects of the employee's personality, social relationship, all those things. So in that context also there are possibilities for rejection of application. 5 to 10% get rejected here. After the reference check completion, we'll take the rest of the people. Those who are selected at the reference check will be taken to drug testing and or drug sensitivity testing. Sometimes drug testing means if the profile of the particular candidate is going to be a profile wherein some chemicals, some fumes, gas, some allergic stuffs are going to be handled in the profile, then we need to know whether the person is capable of handling them or he has any allergy or any other issues with the particular stuff. So we try to undertake this test in order to check his physical and biological compatibility. That is where drug sensitivity testing gets importance at this stage. On the other side, employees are generally supposed to be non-drunken in the duty, isn't it? They should not report to duty drunken. So that test also comes under the same stage with the drug testing measures. So we may even check whether the employee has alcoholic exposure. That kind of test generally goes with some suspicious cases, but that is also a stage of selection. Here 2 to 5% will get rejected because no one will come knowingly drunken to the interviews, isn't it? So at the maximum 2 to 5% only we will get rejections at this stage. And next stage is going to be final interview. If the previous interview, the third stage interview was conducted by technical heads, then this stage final interview will be conducted by HR. If the third stage interview was conducted by HR, then this stage interview will be conducted by the HODs. So both are possibilities for a shifting the positions. At the same time, final interview, during which if it is a HR interview, HR is going to talk about the conditions, working conditions and the occupational hazard related matters to confirm that the employee is aware of that. That is where the candidate is asked some details about the application or the advertisement that he gone through, regarding shift systems, regarding roaming nature of the job, regarding the exposure to head chemicals, all this stuff, though we have given in advertisements or recruitment communications, we should check 100%, we should assure that the candidate is aware of that. That is what happens generally in HR final interview at this stage. If it is a technical interview, naturally the technical tests and all other tests with reference to oral communication, vocabulary, all that will happen at the final interview. And here also 10 to 20% rejections may happen. Then those who are rest of the employees or candidates at this stage after final interview, then we will be deciding upon whether to select them or not. So there are possibilities here also. It's a selection decision stage, but still there is a possibility for rejection here because we always have a reference check suspicion, isn't it? That suspicion is being checked with so many sources of contacts, and ultimately it is proved that he is guilty of some offense or he is guilty of some disciplinary actions, continuous disciplinary actions from all the previous employers, these kind of conditions in which the selection may be negative. That case, here also there is a possibility for rejection of applicant in this stage. And sometimes here it's not only the employer rejecting the employee, the candidate, but also the candidate can reject our offer, saying he has got better opportunity. During the process, maybe 1 or 2 days we would have taken to complete this process of selection. So by the time he would have attended another interview, or lastly when he comes to know the occupational hazard related aspects, he would have missed when reading the communication. So now he is getting aware of it, so he is not interested. These kind of reasons for which he may reject our offer, so that way also reject application can happen. So at this stage only we have finally decided to select so and so, and for the so and so profile. That is how we take the rest of the candidates to placement on the job. Here also we don't decide on if we have 10 vacancies. We don't only take some 10 selected candidates. We will be adding 20% or 30% of required number in addition to the required number, because there are a lot of possibilities for even after our offer and accepting the offer, the candidate may not be joining at the date of joining. So at that time, if you find a candidate who is already offered the job is not joining, you can't again straight away go to preliminary screening step to all these stages, isn't it? So to avoid such kind of dangers, we always keep 10, 20 to 30% of applications at the final selection decision as waiting listed. So if after offering the job, if someone doesn't join, this waiting listed candidate can be informed to get to know that he is offered the job so that he joins. That's how we are finally deciding how to whom to select and how to place them. This is how the process of selection goes in an organization in general. And there is always a question saying whether these stages are mandatory. No, all these stages are not mandatory. Sometimes some stages can be skipped. Sometimes these stages can be done even after they are joining with us. Maybe reference checks. Sometimes many of the organizations they don't go for reference check as and when they are in the process of selection. No, we will keep it aside for future. And after joining, if we are getting to know some aspects of the employee not appreciable, or some negative observations about the employee's social relationship or employee's collegial relationship, there we might go for the same step called reference check later. So there are possibilities for some steps to be avoided, there are possibilities for some steps to be reserved for future, there are possibilities for some more steps to be added. That is how the selection process takes a shape. With this, let me conclude the session. Thank you.